Who lives in a pineapple under the sea? I'm here to wrap up this manifesting overview. I think we have a few more pages. We already talked about all the different things that I kind of summarized, and now we're just going to kind of revisit concepts that were mentioned just briefly. So, embodying your desired reality. Identity shifting is also kind of a term if you're kind of trying to figure it out more. A lot of people in the space talk about identity shifting. If you're looking at it from a more practical perspective, you want to have a less woo-woo, more practical perspective, then check out NLP, identity shifting. I think it explains it from a very psychological angle, and it was a little bit easier to understand before the woo-woo thing. It's basically, I recently watched one video where they talk about identity shifting that I think explained it quite well in terms of, for example, if the version of you now is in terms of goal ABC, for example. So let's say in terms of you getting rich, and there's this version of you now that doesn't have it. What are their thoughts, beliefs, actions, etc.? And then write that down, and then write down the version of you that does have whatever you want to have. What is their thoughts, beliefs, actions, like what does that person do? And then and then you just kind of check the gap that you have, and you try to every day make the decisions that version of yourself would be. That would be aligning with trying to identity shift into the reality, into the embodiment of the reality of the version of yourself that you would be if you had what you wanted. So you would assume state and identity of the version of you that already has the desire realized. Then briefly, to get into the mirror principle. Basically, it means that in the same way, if you're standing in front of a mirror, if you want your reflection of yourself to smile at you, you have to do it first. So that's kind of like a metaphor for reality, in terms of you'll be it first and then you get it reflected from the world. So you need to change so reality meets you there. Again, I think a key topic for figuring out what those versions of you are like and whatever, it's always curiosity. Just keep asking yourself. Don't ever be like, I hate myself for not being that version yet. That's just not that helpful. You're actually emotionally charging a negative feeling, and you're kind of gluing it to you with all that emotional charge. So even noticing you're not that version yet, you're not focusing on not being that version. All you're doing is, or you're not focusing on being the version of yourself that you don't want to be. All you're doing is focusing on how do you achieve that version that you're looking to get to. And it's completely fine if that is a process in and of itself, you know, if it takes time, if like realizations come not all at once pouring in, but they come over time, for example, that's all fine. Then the act as if it was already true. So it's basically you're trying to indicate in real life with your decisions, with your actions, that what you're trying to get is already true. So, for example, if you're trying to get money, doesn't mean you're going to start spending money like you just won a lottery, but maybe, you know, there will be ways in which your money spending behavior will change. If beforehand you would only buy the cheapest groceries, you know, like the no-name brand or whatever, or something like a non-biological, even you would like to buy bio meat, for example. So taking small steps to indicate to yourself that the beliefs that you had that were limiting you before are already kind of getting resolved. So for example, then again, it's not about splurging and putting yourself in financial debt when you really don't have it yet, but about suggesting to yourself in ways that you decide within yourself that are manageable, that which you want, you're already approaching. Like, you're no longer feeling guilty for buying more expensive food brands, for example, or the more healthier version of a food brand. Instead, you're being like, I love to spend my money on my health, or just kind of try to remove the blockages that you have. If you have guilt around, or if you're like, by the time that you get to the cash register, you're like, ah, fuck, you know, like, that's so expensive. Really try to get to the point, oh, I'm circulating my money, like my money flows for me all the time, it comes back to me easily. Like, it's always this flowing process. It's not like you're no longer putting the energy of, oh, I'm going broke because I'm because I'm now spending, I don't know, 100 euros on my grocery shopping or whatever. So find little ways basically to indicate to yourself that what you want to have, you already have, and how to prove it to yourself in reality, how to actually put your money where your mouth is, or how to put the action where your mouth is, basically. Yeah, it's basically not about huge, unbelievable gestures or huge leaps, but it's about meaningful, of indicating that you're shifted energy and identity. And let those things like be a confidence thing. Like when I'm going and I'm like, okay, I'm buying the thing that I normally wouldn't treat myself to because I would think it's so expensive. Now I'm like I said, I love to treat myself because I know my health is my wealth, and I allocate my money wisely and invest in my health, for example. And then kind of let that be your proof that things are already happening because you're already taking the actions, and let that also build the confidence within yourself. Then let's talk about gratitude. Gratitude is a really powerful emotion to attract things. In the Bible it says, for example, when Jesus kind of brings this one dude back from the dead, that Jesus already gave thanks to God before he even know that the guy actually got raised from the dead. So that gratitude is a really powerful emotion in terms of manifesting. That faith, gratitude, knowing, and yeah, basically also gratitude is one of those emotions. If you're talking about NLP, for example, there's some emotions that are kind of traps, like pride, for example. Even the Bible talks about that pride is, can also be a deadly sin. Basically, a lot of what people think, a lot of emotions can boil down to emotions that are that can be, I guess, corrupted into an extreme that is maybe not helpful. Whereas gratitude, basically, you can have as much as you want of. Like it doesn't ever turn into like a toxic emotion. Yeah. And then also there's the gratitude paradox about find the gratitude that's natural to you. Like even if you were to win in the lottery, if you're trying to visualize that and you're trying to embody the gratitude or whatever, you might be the type of person that goes wee and is like super excited, but most likely everybody gets used to their circumstances really quickly. So even if you were to win, for example, a lottery, I mean, nobody's saying it's like money, say you're winning like 200k, then like a few months later it would be your new normal. If somebody asked you, you would feel very normal about it. So if you're, for example, trying to manifest using the emotion, oh, I would feel so grateful, I would feel elated, I would feel over the moon. Is that really how you would feel? Like maybe you would feel like that for a few days, but a week in or 2 weeks in, most likely it's going to feel like something normal to you. So when you're trying to use gratitude in terms of manifesting, definitely like find a gratitude that is authentic to you based on what you are trying to manifest. So yeah, if you're visualizing yourself like literally like a small child jumping up and down, but like you're a super calm person, you don't really do that. Even if you get surprised with something that you love, you're just like a quiet knowing gratitude instead of a ooh, wow, gratitude, then that's your way you should embody the gratitude for shifting yourself into the desire into the desire fulfilled state. So it's more about a mixture between gratitude and acceptance, and also neutralizing it within yourself. You're grateful because it's already yours, because you know it's yours. Yeah, and not because it's this huge thing that you thought you would never be able to achieve or whatever, because then you're indicating it's something outside of you, it's something that you don't have yet. So basically try to find a way to normalize and neutralize the gratitude that you have. Still, you can't have like too much gratitude, but just find a way in which it's authentic to you. Oh yeah, in the same way, like the analogy is like you're grateful to be alive, but you're not ecstatic at every breath that you breathe, right? Like it's kind of like the same image in terms of we think for certain things that we want, we would be like this fixed version of ourselves, if only I were my perfect weight, then I would be happy every day of the life. But it's not like that. Even as you approach it, every step of the way, it's kind of becoming your new normal. So yeah, so that's about the law of importance also. that the things you view with too much importance creates resistance. So you allow something externally to energetically shift you too much internally, indicating that it's outside of you, which indicates lack and dependence, and it creates desperation, stress, and anxiety. Yeah, that's like the quote that we talked about in the first video already. It's like manifesting is internally shifting to a degree where you're no longer emotionally dependent on seeing external change. So instead, it's about being less emotionally detached and neutralizing importance. So if I want to be in financial freedom and I look at this thing that is the thing I want to achieve, and like it's so far outside of me and that's the goal, then it's something outside of me. Whereas if I learn how to, for example, give thanks for the fact that I've always had more than enough, you've never starved, you've never gone without a roof over your head, this and that, like it's more powerful in terms of giving thanks for something that you're already in abundance of than it is to try to close this gap to this external thing that you think would fulfill you. Then the next thing is about the manifestation muscle. So this is about manifestation. A lot of people talk about is instant, but you do need to believe it, or you need to allow reality to catch up. Basically, I think I might be a little bit wrong here, but I think the manifestation instant kind of perspective is about, because if you put yourself in the state that you're looking to achieve, in a state of being a millionaire or financially independent or lucky, happy in love or whatever, then you can instantly get that and you can instantly feel that. But to actually bring the things in and, you know, have it show up in your physical reality, it takes a lot of confidence. So that's why a lot of people, and also me, I would say start with small things that are not super important to you, like manifesting, I don't know, seeing a specific car around, or people talk about like manifesting like a coffee. Yeah, so if it's about confidence, then you know you're not going to go from 0 to 100. You're just starting to learn how to manifest and be able to manifest, like maybe, but most likely it's going to be difficult for you to manifest like winning the lottery or whatever. But if you're succeeding, for example, manifesting seeing a specific car or getting a coffee or getting a free dinner or whatever, then you can let that manifestation muscle grow. And part of manifesting is the confidence and the faith. So you're building the muscle, you're telling yourself, you're showing yourself that you're able to achieve the goals, which makes you more confident, which gives you more knowing, more faith, which makes you a better manifester. Consider your limiting beliefs that you have. So it's a game of offense and defense manifesting, and part of the defense would be like clearing things that are in the way. If you're, for example, trying to manifest like a happy, healthy, loving relationship, and all the guys you've been with before or all the women you've been with have been crazy or not respectful, this and that, then instead kind of first just letting go of those beliefs and neutralizing them, so you're no longer, those are your assumptions. Law of assumption is also manifestation. So if you keep thinking, I always get shitty guys, I always get guys that are cheating on their girlfriends with me, this and that, like whatever it is, find a way within yourself to neutralize them, to let these things go. Whether it's, I would use self-hypnosis for the most part, I think that's really helpful, or like meditation or visualization. But then instead of letting yourself, letting reality prove to you that it's always like this, start being like, thank you God, or thank you universal energy, whatever, for always giving me respectful guys that are kind with me, that are respectable communicators, that, you know, are open and sweet and like happy to get to know me in a genuine way, doesn't that, whatever. So it could be one by one you're trying to lose whatever it is that you've held before as a belief or as a knowing, and replacing that with the way that you would want to feel. So if then I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, this guy's, nope, all men are always super sweet with me, they're always super nice, like thank you that I'm only receiving people who are great for me, and on a mutual benefit, this and that, whatever. Yeah, Well, for example, with business, if you have a belief that, oh, every time this year it's a really bad season, or business is really bad right now, the economy is really bad, try to lose these kind of limiting beliefs. By bringing awareness to them and realizing it's a limiting belief, it's not reality. You can question the origin to understand it better, to create that more awareness, replace it, and feel the new belief as real. So for example, what I said with the guy thing, you're going from, oh, men always treat me like shit, to men always treat me super respectfully, super nicely, they're always sweet. And then visualize that, or when you're meditating, when your body is completely calm. I mentioned that earlier, getting your body into a like meditative calm state helps your subconscious to accept things. To then just feel the new beliefs as real. You know, then I would be like, I would repeat again, oh, like I'm so grateful that men are always respectful with me, that they're always great at communicating, they're always obsessed with me in the healthiest way, you know, like whatever. And basically I'm telling myself that, and I'm letting myself in the moment feel what it would be like to feel like that in a moment. To, for example, have like a super sweet embrace with a guy that's just, you know, like decent dude, good guy, whatever. Yeah, so you can replace it, can be done with affirmations, visuals, again, ideally when your body's in a relaxed state because it's more suggestible. When you have doubts, when you have limiting beliefs, when you have negativity, don't fight it. Again, it puts a lot of emotional energy, kind of how emotionally charged things stick to us more than the things that we're neutral about, right? That's why trauma can happen once and you'll remember it for 20, 30, 50 years in your life. So even when you're hating on yourself, or you had a goal of doing something and you didn't end up finishing to be able to do that, by you shaming yourself, or by you being like, I'm the worst, or this and that, again, you're charging that which you don't want, that energy, to you. So even if you are fucking up over something, just try to be neutral about it, accept yourself over and over and over. There's nobody living inside of you other than you. So ultimately, you can also not accept yourself and hate yourself, or always be mean to yourself, but it doesn't do anything for you. Nobody else lives in your mind. Like, you're not doing anybody a favor by just hating on yourself internally. So the goal should always be to always accept yourself. If you're fucked up, you just accept yourself. You don't go into a tailspin of negativity. You don't fight it. You just drop and refocus on the positive focus. Or again, when like a doubt comes up, if I were to start thinking about how this dude treated me bad, I would just be like, okay, first of all, I would be like, focus on my breath, which is a key thing to get out of your mind. So I would do like a 4 second breathing exercise. 4 seconds in, 4 seconds hold, and 4 seconds out. You can, for example, imagine that the breath goes right into your feet. It's more grounding. Or you can focus on your heart at the same time. Any breath that is longer on the exhale than it is on the inhale. So 4 seconds in, for example, 4 seconds hold, and then 6 seconds breathing out, for example, is calming on your nervous system. So that also helps, like, our bodies infer attitude from our mental, but also the other way around. Our mental infers attitude from our body. So, for example, if you're feeling really unconfident, but then you have to go into a job interview and you know this is like not good, so you roll back your shoulders, you're acting confident, you also feel more confident. It's like a feedback loop in both ways. So when you have doubts, focus on the present moment, focus on letting those things go, accepting yourself, loving yourself, focus on not negatively emotionally charging that, and on a positive focus, like, sorry. The breath would be one, to kind of ground yourself in the present. Another one would be checking in with your senses. So again, if something comes up I don't want to think about, I don't want to have that doubt, then I'll just be like, okay, usually I still focus on my breath, but I'll be like, okay, what do I see, what do I hear, what do I smell, what do I feel? That kind of just stops the thought that you have if you're overthinking, if you're focusing on doubts or whatever. And then if you want to take it a step further, you can go like, I focus on my breath, I calm my body, I'm affirming to myself, I'm visualizing the positive focus instead of the doubt that I just had. So then you can be like, I go in meditation and I thank for everything to work out effortlessly, that that things just the universe conspires in my way the entire time, or whatever, you know, whatever you actually want. Yeah, and kind of like this, I don't really want to go into myself, but I think it's really interesting, and it helped me a lot with negative habits. Neuro Knowledge, this guy, just so you can see how it's written. This dude on YouTube, his video on addiction is really, really good. I found it actually one of the most helpful videos on addiction ever in terms of how to actually lose addictions. And I would highly, highly recommend that. I think that's really, really good. Yeah, and that's actually it. That is the end of this. And sorry, I was a little bit late in between, but it's because I'm actually writing some music at the moment, and I started about 2 months ago, and this is how far I've gotten in my notebook. So it's actually going pretty well, and I might actually make a video, like a little vlog on my first song I made, and maybe the person I made it with is gonna agree to come and do this together. I also haven't met another friend, and we might take this camera on the, not on the run, on the walk, on the vlog walk. How the fuck I vlog talk? Okay. In the future. So keep your eyes tuned, I guess, and I will see you in my next video. Peace out.